Make, miss. It's a make or miss league, baby. That's it.
That's it. It just is what it is. Make fundamentals. It's a make or miss league. Inside a minute, Jokic makes good use of his pivot foot, floats up. I love this hook shot. I love it. Brian, do you think he takes his coffee breaks with Kareem? Get it?
This has been dubbed the ground hook instead of the sky hook, the
Come
ground hook. But hey, if
on.
it gets you 2 points, what's it matter, Rachel?
Come on. I thought this was
love
really
it,
nice and
because a
great
lot of people-
defense by Rudy.
They think that this is like a travel sometimes when you do 360 pivots. I like it.
I love this. I could see this in every block of the show. I'm not kidding. I thought this was beautiful. And by the way, it turned out to be the game winner. So, Mr. Ground Hook. All right, miss, cool heads. Rudy Gobert trying to go back up with the offensive rebound. Thought he got fouled. And watch here, just kind of stomps in anger. He's got the angry toddler thing going because, he also kicks chairs and he makes drinks go this way and all of that. Sinead, when you're out there in the moment, is it just hard not to let it all, the anger just flow?
I think I loved it because in that moment, Rudy Gobert was playing with reckless abandon, and that's just who he is. He might show his emotions, and sometimes it gets the best of him, but he was fouled, Rachel. On that play, he was fouled, and he had a right to be big mad, big mad.
Yeah, I mean, this was funny, but real talk, this is sometimes what upsets his teammates is that he pouts when he doesn't get his way. So he could maybe improve on that. But he also got hit in the eye later and didn't get a call either. He had a beef.
Speaking of eyes, make eye contact, fourth quarter. Jayson Tatum looks off Pascal Siakam like a quarterback looking off a safety and then hits the three. I don't know. Do we think Jayson could be a quarterback if we switch sports around here? What do you think, Brian?
He could be a quarterback. He could be a wide receiver. He could be a tight end. He could be a safety, maybe a linebacker, depending on how he tackles. This was a brilliant play and just shows how much respect they have for his teammates who are making shots because they didn't know where to go.
Cosign, retweets, all of that. He could play any position probably, But the eye movement, that's super subtle but super effective. And I really had something to say, but I'm going to have to censor myself because it's like, with your eyes, you can do something to a defender or someone in front of you with your eyes. Yeah, like he sort of did that. And it makes you feel naked in that moment when you go for that and fall for that. So it stinks.
We're going to just leave that there. Miss, patience. Back to Celtics Raptors. Tatum hits the step back, but he is called for a push-off foul. Then he air punches and he gets teed up. There's been a lot of these air punch texts. Sinead, what's the deal here?
Okay, let me break it down. To be fair, all the points of emphasis that you get as a professional basketball player, both the WNBA and the NBA, we share the same refs. We are told this every year. If you punch the air, you will get a technical. So it's 50-50 whether it actually applies. They do call it, sometimes they don't. But yeah, we are told that this will be a technical as a player. We know that this is coming if you do that. But we did see later on that it didn't happen to certain players either. So it's 50-50, always a toss-up.
This is a classic example of spirit of the law by the letter of the law. In a 4-point game in the last minute of a playoff game, you don't call that. And I think most officials would agree with that.
It's not even, he didn't even, if he was going to punch the air and earn a technical for it, I think he could have done better. I'm just saying. Make drama. Raptors out and running after the turnover. I love this music. Marcus Smart just decides to run into Pascal Siakam, draws the offensive foul. Do you think Smart was a drama kid in high school, Brian?
Okay, this is one of the greatest flops I've ever seen. And if I was Nick Nurse, as I said earlier, I would have gotten ejected because he initiates the contact. The other guy has no idea he's coming. He flops, and he's 6 feet behind the plate, and it costs him 2 points. This is a crazy call. I guess tip your cap to Marcus Smart.
Yeah, sometimes you get those calls, sometimes you don't. But more power to you for leaning all the way into that moment and risking it all there. But what we're seeing now is he tends to get the benefit of the doubt, and that's just not one of those times right there.
We've had Marcus on the show to talk about his flapping, among other things, and we're going to sing his praises here in a minute. But he knows what he does. It's all strategery. This scouting reports Kemba Walker hitting a step-back dagger with 4.1 seconds left, gave the Celtics that 3-point lead. Sinead, we've seen Kemba do this time and time again. As a player, how hard is it to defend his step-back jag?
Look, Coach Tar at Stanford University, Hall of Famer, would always say the only thing you can do for moves like that is prayer defense. Just pray that they miss. That's so much in Kemba's bag that you just have to go with the flow and let the gods of Spalding and Wilson just ever reign in your favor.
Yeah, it depends on your defensive system, but it's probably the better percentage play defensively to make him try to take that shot as opposed to go to the rim where he could get fouled or score. Just in that percentage, he's good at it.
It's so nice just watching Kemba these last couple games. It's been so nice to watch him with other really major heavy hitter offensive threats on the floor. It's what was missing, all those playoff runs that he had in Charlotte. Not that there were that many, but the ones that he had. And it's just nice to see a little less defensive pressure on him and him able to show all the parts of his game. Wish him so much success. All right, I want to keep the focus on this series because we promised we were going to talk about how good Marcus Smart is. Marcus Smart is really good. He took control of this game, scoring 16 points, a dazzling 3-minute stretch early in the fourth. He made 5 3-pointers, turning the last of those into a 4-point play in the Celtics win. Afterward, Brad Stevens said, Marcus has been a leader since he got here. I've said it many times. We've been in the playoffs every year since he's been here, and that is not a coincidence. Brian, do you think Smart is ultimately going to be the difference in this series?
Well, one of the reasons he's a difference is not just because of his play, but who he's making up for, which is the loss of Gordon Hayward. And the Raptors are one of the best defenses in the league, one of the best defenses in the bubble. Scoring was going to be an issue for the Celtics in this series, especially without Hayward. And Marcus has made up for that. Not only has he been terrific in putting the points on the board, but he has undercut the way the Raptors want to play defense because they don't want to guard him, Rachel. But because he's hitting these threes, it's stretching their defense and giving lanes for other guys. His play has been, without question, the definition of a difference maker so far.
And it's not just Gordon Hayward. It's also when you have a team that is dominated by guard play, and sometimes you don't get as much production from the bigs, even though Robert Williams gives you good productions per minute, which we learned on the broadcast, which is awesome. Daniel Tice is there. I think it's really key for them. He's the type of player that you want to play with. He's the type of player that will make the play that shifts outcomes in moments like this. Like you said, Rachel, 5 threes and 3 minutes late. You know, before we thought it was probably the Raptors that stole the momentum would run away with it. And you have a player that can sort of not be accounted for on the scouting report, not be accounted for, you know, from the offensive schemes that can give you that boost. And the boost is not something you can necessarily predict all the time, but it's a boost that will change the outcome for your team, the Celtics. Because now I feel like if they connect on all cylinders, they can make it all the way to the finals.
Ooh. All right, I'm just going to leave that take there for a minute. I would add, by the way, that Marcus Smart is the kind of player that I think all 29 other teams would be thrilled to have on their club. And I would normally say that about Pascal Siakam too, right? But yesterday, Spicy P, not so spicy, struggled to make an impact late. Had that turnover where he stepped out of bounds. Janae, why haven't we seen peak Siakam against the Celtics?
So this is a thing, you know, coming into the bubble after having 4 months or so off. It affects people different ways. We've seen some people be able to step up and play. We've seen some people sort of struggle. And Pascal Siakam, for the most part, is a real rhythm player. He's a flow player. He gets the ball in transition and sort of catches his rhythm. But also, he plays in the flow of his team. And so with the stoppage of play, it affects people very differently. I know his percentages have gone from about, like 46% shooting the ball to now like 39%. But it's not just Pascal. You know, I think the Raptors, they could really help by making shots, period. I think he was 1 for 4 from 3 yesterday. Kyle Lowry was 0 for 7 from 3. Van Fleet was 3 for 12 from 3. So making shots will take some of the pressure off of Pascal so he can play his game in transition. And just sort of when people don't understand or expect he's going to make a move, that's when Pascal gets his bucket. So the pressure's on everyone, but especially Spicy P.
I don't disregard anything you just said, but I also think it's a difference between being a number 1 and a number 2. And I think he's probably a number 2. And when you are